Okay, we are also now live on YouTube and LinkedIn Live. So welcome to everybody joining us there as well. We'll be starting in just a minute or two, just to give everybody a chance to join. Hello to Toronto and to the Netherlands and France. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone, depending on where in the world you're joining us in from. We'll be starting in just a minute, just to give more people a chance to join. Hello to Uganda and to New Orleans. We have quite a global audience today. All right, we are now 1 minute past the hour, so we will get this started. So first, let me just share my slides here. Hello again, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everyone, depending on where in the world you're joining us in from. Welcome to this LF Decentralized Trust webinar with Hedera about the first year of Hiero. We have a very special webinar in store for you today as we celebrate Hiero's 1-year milestone and the progress that Hiero community and LF Decentralized Trust have achieved together. So we're very excited about today's presentation. My name is Tomasz and I'm an ecosystem manager at LF Decentralized Trust. Today, I will have the pleasure to introduce our panelists and take you through some housekeeping. Excuse me. So first, I would like to emphasize that all are welcome in our community, and we strive to create a safe and welcoming environment for everyone. So please follow our code of conduct when interacting with each other on this webinar and in the broader community as well. And you can find our code of conduct on our website and on our wiki. All of the LF Decentralized Trust webinars are following the LF antitrust policy, which you can also find on our website. This webinar is being recorded, and the recording will be available right after the webinar in our YouTube library, as well as on our webinar library, along with the slides you can download. It is also being live streamed on LinkedIn Live and YouTube, so welcome to everybody joining us there. Now, we encourage these webinars to be interactive, so you feel free to use your raise your hand button to get unmuted and to speak up. You can also use the Q&A box and the chat box to ask your questions, and we will get to them, or our panelists will get to them as we go. And for those of you joining us on the live streams, excuse me, please use the comment button to ask your questions, and I will relay them to the panelists. Now, without further ado, I would like to introduce this very special panel we have today. It's going to be a bit different than our regular webinars, as it will be split in the 3 parts. So we will start first with a fireside chat between Sham Nagarajan and Daniela Barbosa, followed by another fireside chat with Sham and Rebecca Hoffman. And then in the third portion, we will have the great chat with our community maintainers, led by the tech member Henrik Ebers, chatting with our maintainers Sophie Bullock and Milan Vrix van Rijn. Now, without further ado, Daniela and Sham, over to you.
Great. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Tomasz. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I'm Daniela Barbosa. I am the Executive Director of Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust. And it's been an exciting week here at Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust as we are celebrating our one-year anniversary as Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust. So the foundation launched last year in September, and we're very excited about all the milestones that our community has done this year. But very exciting. What we're discussing today is the one-year anniversary of Hiero, and Hiero was the first project that came in under this new foundation, LFDT. And we're very excited to be celebrating the milestones that not only the Hedera Foundation has done over the last year, but of course the maintainers and the users of Hiero in the Hedera ecosystem. So I would like to first introduce Sham. Sham is the CEO of the Hedera Foundation, a big champion of open source and a good friend of mine since I started at the Linux Foundation in 2017. So, first of all, congratulations. It is a huge milestone that we're celebrating today with the Hiero community. I'd love to just, if you can start by introducing yourself and a bit about your background, how did you get here?
All right. Hey, Daniela, very nice to see you again. Well, first, congratulations on the first year anniversary of LFDT. I think this is a huge milestone to be celebrated. And coincidentally, 1 year anniversary for Hiero as well. So that's really thrilling for us. I'm Sham Nagarajan, COO at Hedera, and it's been a very interesting journey so far. Hedera is, as we call it, a trust layer for digital economy. We have been around for almost 7 years, and we was started as a really interesting science work and innovation work by Dr. Lehman Baird and Mance Harmon. And since then, they have applied this innovation, especially the consensus mechanism for Hashgraph, into a public permission protocol that's built for speed, that's built for predictability with respect to finality and transaction processing, and enterprise grade in the way how the entire software stack is built. So we've been around for, as I said, we went mainnet in 2018. We formed a governing council in 2019 that actually brings together enterprises around the world, including Google, IBM, Dell, Hitachi, and our latest council members, including Arrow Electronics and Blockchain for Energy. Now, these organizations, as they are world-renowned, have a responsibility to be and run the nodes for the network, and they are essentially helping govern the entire network for all the users and the ecosystem. So happy to talk more about Hedera, and as well as its biggest event that occurred last year, which was around contributing our code base to LFDT under the Project Hiero guises.
Excellent. Excellent. It's a great overview. So, 7 years ago, right? If you think about it, 7 years ago, how many public blockchains were there? There weren't that many, right? There was Bitcoin, there was Ethereum, there was, Hedera starting off. Today, there's hundreds. Sometimes I can't even keep up with all the blockchains. And I think here at LFDT, we certainly believe and have since the start. We started this journey in blockchain at the Linux Foundation in 2018. 2015, we've certainly believed that there's never going to be one blockchain to rule them all, right? And I think it's an important concept for the industry to believe in and to grab. But tell us a little bit about what are the key capabilities of Hedera specifically that makes it different from the other layer ones? You talked about speed. Give us a little bit more about, maybe some of the audience who doesn't know what the Hedera blockchain is focused on. What is different about Hedera and with other layer ones?
So to start with, Hedera is wicked fast compared to a lot of the other blockchains, layer ones out there. It's fast. It's fixed fees. Fixed fees means predictable costs for organizations, enterprises, and users, and instant settlement. Finality takes seconds in Hedera, and all these three key elements make it enterprise ready. We also do fair ordering of transactions. That means no MEV, so no front running, and every transaction is time-stamped and therefore sequential and real-time auditability. It also has the highest levels of security, which means we could freeze and unfreeze accounts. We have KYC flags in each one of these accounts that can be used and directly related to OFAC and as OFAC's alignment with the AML and financial regulatory aspects of it. And lastly, our entire code base is managed at LFDT under Project Hiero. And that means we are not the only organization that's actually developing the code. We are collaborating with 80 plus organizations around the world that is doing this together with us under Linux Foundation.
Yeah, I think it's great. We're going to dive a little deeper into that in a bit, because I think it's a very critical difference that many of the other blockchains are attaining to as well. And Hedera is one of the first, and we'll talk about that in a second. So you talked about speed and finality, and one of the things that very often in the Web3 ecosystem, we say, not all blockchain are created equal, right? So the mission of Hedera was from the start, focused on what we call enterprise use cases. Doesn't mean just enterprises, but the things that need those core properties. So tell us a little bit, maybe a couple of use cases that you see, early on use cases and those that are in production in the Hedera ecosystem, to help the audience understand the kind of focus that your ecosystem is focused on.
Look, our focus has been on really key areas. We believe as a public blockchain, the biggest impact blockchain is going to have is transforming the financial services industry through tokenization. So tokenization is a huge, huge focus. Very recently, we saw Lloyds Bank, along with Aberdeen, tokenize money market funds and use it for everyday trading and settlement, which is a huge impact and transition. I mean, Hedera just got picked to be the network to launch the Wyoming Front token, which is the first state-backed stable token or stable coin that's in United States, right? We also focus on AI. I mean, I do want to talk a little bit about our partnership with Equity Labs and NVIDIA in being able to do AI attestations for governance and full auditability. Bringing trust to AI is a huge element. And today's adoption of AI in enterprises depend on how auditable these things are.
Yeah.
The third area that we focus on is on supply chain and sustainability. I mean, Hedera has always been, from 2018, we focused on sustainability. We are the lowest carbon footprint in the market with respect to energy consumption and usage. But on top of it, we have open source packages called Project Guardian that actually is used by Vera and standards bodies to do tokenization of carbon credits, track the scope 1, scope 2, scope 3, and to be able to do DPP, which is digital product platform with respect to traceability of the entire supply chain. So these three key areas are where we are doubling down on, and we continue to improve and grow with respect to enterprise adoption on these three areas.
Yeah, and it's really, just yesterday I took a look at the Hedera Foundation website, and you have great places around use cases. And, so I encourage everyone who is not familiar with the Hedera Foundation to go take a look at this, because it's really cross-industry in the type of use cases that the foundation is bringing to market, and obviously the users and the application builders. And we'll talk obviously with some of them today as well. So before we go a little bit deeper into why open source and why LFDT, I think the Hedera Foundation plays a critical role as well on, handling the ecosystem growth and developer outreach. I know you're going to talk to one of the council members next as well, and tell us a little bit about the role of the Hedera Foundation. And let's start talking about the decision points that the Hedera Foundation made to contribute Hiero into the Linux Foundation.
So as I told you, Hedera is a little bit unique in the way it's governed. We actually have a council, and council is made up of, today it's 33 large enterprises that actually has industry permission to say these, to run the nodes for Hedera. And during the process, I mean, Hedera has always been open source. It was Apache licensed, but we decided code neutrality is a really important element of decentralization. And in order to achieve code neutrality, we had to seek an open collaborative platform and open governance in order to make this operational. And that's how the project Hiero was actually conceived. And it was conceived at the council level, where all these large organizations said open source is important to us, and we want to make this operational for the Hedera network and the Hedera Foundation. And since then, the foundation, the council, Hashgraph, all these organizations work together with the Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust. We contributed the code, but also we brought in all the maintainers and the contributors, and we've been actively recruiting more developers to come bring their experience and as well as new contributions to LFDT. Today, we are at 800 plus developers that are contributing to the project Hiero, and we have 80 plus organizations worldwide that are doing this as well. I mean, as a network, we actually are the largest in terms of the lifetime transactions that's been done on a public network, 71 billion plus transactions. And that's significant compared to any of the other layer ones that are in the market. And since 2019, we've had 200 plus applications that's been built on in production on Hedera, and that's been running consistently since then, right? And every day we have millions of new accounts being created on Hedera. So production and enterprise quality, open source, code neutrality, and if you think of decentralized but governed by adults in the room kind of model, and that's what Hedera and Hiero brings it together.
Yeah, and it wasn't, the last year, that we're celebrating today was all the hard work of the maintainers and the contributors and the foundation and the council and all, the ecosystem players to open and to bring this community. And it's been amazing to see. And I know we're going to talk a little bit about it with Hendrik, our TSC chair for Hiero. But one of the things that I think is really important is now, people are seeing code neutrality as a new standard for blockchain, for public blockchains. And, if you can define that, you said it a couple of times in the last few minutes. How do you define code neutrality, and how does Hiero fit that mold of being code neutral, open source project?
Well, look, I mean, we definitely, when we started Hedera, we were primarily driven off our labs team, which is Hashgraph. And they've always done a fantastic job in collaborating with the open source, especially the Besu and the identity projects, and even Fabric for that sake, because they were one of the first to actually build a SDK using the Hedera consensus mechanism to run on Fabric, so enterprises can leverage the fast consensus mechanism from Hedera to run production level applications on Fabric. So it's always been in the blood. But what happened was we opened this up last year to all these organizations across the world and brought them together. I mean, we have 20,000 plus developers that are developing on Hedera. And Hiero actually was the opportunity where we believe that the power of the community is best illustrated in the open source collaboration, open governance, and being able to, the decentralized nature of blockchain is not just in the runtime environment, it's also in code development. So the control is not in just one organization, it's the diversity, and diversity of all these different organizations do matter as well. So that's kind of why we came to initiate Project Hiero.
Yeah, yeah. And I do believe that, regulators and certainly enterprises have already. And we're going to go on to the next fireside chat with one of your council members around the importance of code neutrality when they're building infrastructure. So, Shyam, thank you for your time. Thank you for all your contributions to Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust and to the Hiero community. And I would like to invite Rebecca on to have a sight into the council. And Rebecca, welcome. Rebecca Hoffman is the president and CEO of Blockchain for Energy and Hedera Council member, and it's fantastic to see you. And they just joined. We will be announcing you as a member of Linux Foundation Decentralized Trust. So thank you for your continued contributions, and over to you, Shyam.
All right. Thank you, Daniela. Rebecca, really great to see you here, and thank you for making time. I mean, we are always thrilled when we talk to our council members, but you are being the latest council member. You have some special message to communicate to our community. I'd love for you to start with introduction about yourself and how did B4E actually come about and what B4E actually does.
Sure. Thank you. And thank you for having me here today. We are excited about these new relationships and collaboration. I think it's important as we move our consortium along. So I'm Rebecca Hoffman. I am the CEO, as they said, of Blockchain for Energy. We are a consortium of major energy companies that we wanted to help them unlock the benefit of decentralized technology. So as Daniela said, we also don't believe there's going to be one blockchain that rules the whole world. We saw that early on. So even though we have blockchain in our name, we use that as a very liberal term in the sense of it is DLT, it's blockchain. And so we spent our early years learning. I've been in the energy industry over 25 years now. Yes, I'm dating myself. And so I grew up in this heavily regulated industry that's very global. And we saw this technology being very powerful to help our business, to help how we work. And we said, we're going to focus on that section of it. And so it's been we've been looking for the correct foundation. We've been studying it. We've been learning. And through all that, we were really building as we learned. So we were working on real things, real problems, common problems. How are we going to be able to, in this very near future, actually work in a digital world? How are we going to do business digitally? So everyone's trying to do these little I'll do these little improvements. We said here is a safe space for us to collaborate under an antitrust umbrella bring our common problems, because when you do business, you don't do business alone. Almost everything that affects you in business is externally. It's either policy, governance, compliance. It is your vendors interacting with you. It's your joint partners in business. Business is an interaction, and blockchain and decentralized technology is allowing us to do business so much more effectively.
Very cool. I'd love to learn a little bit more about who are your members and why, from their perspective, blockchain for energy.
So, like I said, I've been in this industry a long time. We came together at actually a Rice University event about 8 years ago, and we kind of found each other and said this tech's going to be something really big. And so formed a forum. That forum led into this consortium. And so we said, okay, does everybody want to put some money in? And let's go actually start doing real things. And through real things, we'll get these heavy learnings and everything. So our primary founding members have been Chevron, ExxonMobil, Repsol, ConocoPhillips, Chesapeake, who's now, all these companies are merging, a lot of them, and so they're changing their names. But these are big companies who said, we want a safe place to work. And so I left my cushy corporate job and came to run this 5 years ago. So we've been at this, 7 years, 5 years as an organized consortium.
Very cool. I mean, this is very interesting that the industry stalwarts for the energy sector actually come together to collaborate on building industry-specific, optimized, and efficient applications and processes. So
Sham, think about it. Like, you can't have one company making all the rules of how we're going to work digitally and how we're going to interact in business, or we don't want some outside organization. We want to have a say, and we want to be able to mold and shape and move along with tech as tech is developing so that it is applicable to our industry. And safety is a big deal in our industry. People can actually get hurt on these sites, and we have to be very careful the decisions that are made. So it needs to be intentional what we build and why we build it, and their voice needs to be in it because they're boots on the ground.
Yeah, Rebecca, I mean, as you said, you've been around for almost 7 years and in the space. So why Hedera, and why Hedera now?
That's a great question. Like I said, we spent earlier years really learning. Everyone thought we were crazy at first because most people picked a blockchain or a DLT and then they built their solution on top of that. We took a completely different approach. We took 6 programs, like 6 different use cases in completely different aspects or departments within these companies, because to operate as a business, you shouldn't have silos. All of them should be working together anyway in your business. So we said, let's take those where there's common interaction, external interaction that needs to happen by multiple parties in each one of those departments in a company. And then let's go build on different blockchains. And so we did private permission, we did public, we did, I won't name them all, but we did all the majors. And then we came down to, hey, there won't, just like Daniela said, there's not going to be one blockchain. We need interoperability. We need to be able to have data standards, data protection. We need security from a cyber security. We need some elements there, and we need to be able to future-proof, move with tech. So where can we still have a say to be able to shape and mold technology as it's developing, still be able to use it because we're ready to use it, the tech's ready to use, and have the right applications, but then we can move. So we focused on middleware and we focused on application.
Very cool. Well, look, I mean, from a Hedera Council perspective, we are excited to have you. And we believe your industry representation and the adoption of this technology is absolutely necessary as it goes through this transformation transition, especially from fossil fuels to the new way of energy transition, right? So Rebecca, let me switch the conversation to what is the importance
Before we switch, I'm not sure I actually answered your question. So if you give me a second, I'm going to answer your question. So why Hedera? Why Hydro? And it's this easy. The speed, the security, the predictable cost was huge. We need to be able to tell people what things cost. And the governance model, which allows me to go and represent our industry and have a voice and a say, was really a perfect foundation for these solutions. And then the ability to scale responsibly. So we wanted that. And then over the past year, we've seen projects like Hydro and demonstrate a power of this collaborating and continuing and contributing a layer one code base that's going to be neutral and that is neutral and open source foundations. So we were looking for that foundation and to be part of that foundation because our focus, like I said, is more that middleware that allows standards for our industry and then the application for that end user to get value.
Well said, Rebecca. I think that actually transitions into the next question, which is about, so why is open source important for you and as well as your community, with Hiero, but also in general open source as well?
Yeah, and it actually is, it has been something that the members themselves have come to the table and said is important for them and their companies. As time goes on, they want more open source. As we know, open source allows much more security, many more eyes, total transparency, because if you build something and they don't understand how it's built, can people see my data? What does this really mean? It matters how you build, not just what you build. And there's got to be governance around that. And so that's calming down and bringing security and making it more pliable for these companies to accept using DLT now.
Well, look, I mean, you have built a number of solutions for your customer base, especially things like carbon traceability, logistics, and platform to build on top of it. Can you talk a little bit about that and how it uses open source in it as well?
Yeah, thank you. So like I had said earlier, we actually ran 6 programs. And in that, we started to focus. We got really excited because we saw that, all right, we're not just playing and piloting and, these things are actually solving real industry problems. They're alleviating things of inefficiencies and new ways of working we're creating together that they've had a say on. And so it's been beautiful. We now last year rolled out what we call Be Free Logistics, which streamlines the supply chain coordination, cutting down inefficiencies, and bringing full transparency to global operations. These companies are huge and they have global operations. We have a member company that has been using this for over a year now, and with their vendors, and they're seeing the benefit of this to scale it. And if you think about this, we started in chemical deliveries. Wow, could you imagine every commodity, every type of transport, and all of a sudden, some of the value they're seeing is 90% of their transactions are going through without any human involvement. So then these people now can focus on the 10%. They can resolve it more timely. They're getting timely information. They can make decisions in real time now that they could never see in the field. It is super powerful. And then, of course, B for E carbon. Carbon has been a greenfield, kind of the Wild West play with the voluntary market. And and companies trying, lots of companies are trying to help, a lot of people are trying to help, and there's a lot of good people trying to do good things. And we said, okay, from a digital standpoint, let us come in and focus on the application side. Energy is one of the biggest areas that need a digital solution so they can manage their carbon footprint, but also they can take advantage of opportunities, which will hopefully give them a carrot to continue to do the right things and continue to make a difference in our world. So we want to be a place that meaningful things are coming out for those end users to use this, but that Be-Free Carbon is completely on Hedera. We started that one on Hedera. So we thought that was the perfect place to start for our first solutions.
Well, really powerful story. Thank you for sharing that with us. And we, one curious question that we have is, look, you came to the Hedera to become a council member. I mean, you could have just been a user or adopter or Hedera, but instead you actually came in and became a council member. What motivated you to do that, and what value are you getting from it as well?
One of our mandates or our objectives of the consortium was for the energy industry to continue to have a voice and a say. We believe technology is going to ever change, and it's changing very fast. And we need to keep a pulse on that, and we need to keep a say. And then we need to make sure that things are developed understanding a complex, highly regulated industry as ours, that it's going to be able to be usable. Sometimes people think they're doing the right thing and they're doing it with the right heart and the right motives, but then it doesn't fit a certain industry. So having the industry voice there with you on the council, I think is very important, so that we make sure that the end value actually gets. So the foundation's important, but also the applications are too, right?
Well, thank you. I mean, the council is definitely the way to make sure your voice gets heard. But now that you're also a LFDT member, and as well as your engineers can be contributors on the Hiero project, I think you have even more say in what should be and what shouldn't be in those as well. So we welcome the partnership and the collaboration around it.
Yeah, and I believe with real use cases, like real world use cases, that's where the obstacles really come at you, that you can't, I mean, you can do the best job you can architecting something, but until you actually get into real life transactions, do you really see, oh, we didn't even, and we've been in the industry forever, and oh, we needed to do something else. And so it is an ever evolving, improving, increasing value as we go along. So we're very excited to be part of Hedera and Hydro. We think you guys are doing the right thing. It's an alignment with our objectives also. And so we just thought this is a natural collaboration.
Awesome. Rebecca, thank you. Thank you for sharing that story. Thank you for partnering with LFDT and Hiero and Hedera on this. And now we'll transition to the next topic. I welcome Hendrik Ebers, our Director of Open Source, to come and actually talk to our maintainers about our community and what we do in Hiero. Hendrik?
Sure, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, so hi from me, and I have Megan and Sophie with me. And yeah, what we try to do is bring in, as Sham said, like the voice of the maintainers, or in general, of all contributors of the project here to this meeting. I assume that will be quite hard with having like around 800 contributors to the project. So we cannot have all 800 here in the meeting, but I think we've found like a good group here to discuss the diversity of the project, what it means to be an open project, to have different companies and people come together and work together on something great and big as Hiero is. And so to get an idea what we're actually doing and who we are, I would suggest we start with an introduction. And yeah, Sophie, maybe you want to start and tell us a little bit about you, your background, and what brought you to Hiero.
Of course. Thank you very much, Hendrik, and thank you, Shyam and Daniela and Rebecca and everyone for the introduction. Congratulations, Hiero as a project in its first year, and the LFDT. Congratulations with that as well. My name is Sophie. I am a maintainer inside the Hiero project, which is inside the LFDT. And what that means is I review people's code, people's Python code, and I decide with the help of a couple of other maintainers on the quality of that code and if it meets the criteria that we set out in the ideas that we had envisaged. So if we want to create a transaction, does it meet all the criteria? We pass it through some strict security checks. We have like a very, very thorough process, and I'm just a cog in that big machine to help move that along. And yeah, so it's a really nice community. It's growing, very active. So that's what I do. I also do some work on the Hiero website, in particularly the blog part of the website. So if you want to be updated on news that the Hiero project is doing, that's a really great source, the Hiero blog. So that's what I do. How my background, I am a teacher, but I code as a hobby. Actually, here in Hiero, I'm coding volunteering. So I don't know to what extent that would be called a hobby or not. But I've done volunteering for a while, and my previous volunteering opportunity came to an end. And I was in the middle of this, and there was scope to work more if I wanted on it, and I grabbed the opportunity. How I got involved, the story is funny or it's not funny, depending on how you see it. But I was doing nothing in particular. I was browsing social media on my phone. I wasn't doing anything special at the time. There wasn't really anything I was doing, but I came across this blog post announcing Hiero. I can't remember if that was the LFDT. I can't remember if that was the Hiero thing itself, but I read this blog post and I was like, oh, this is interesting. This is different. I haven't seen this kind of open sources, this really trying to welcome people into the new community. So I read it, was interested, and I wanted to learn more. So before you know it, I was on the Hiero website, and I think I then bounced onto the LFDT website. And then from that, I discovered a calendar. So a calendar is just like this online event page that tells you what's happening under the Linux Foundation and all its decentralized projects. And I was curious, so I clicked on those and I discovered that, oh, there's lots of different meetings for lots of different projects. And one thing that really stood out for me is that it said open for everyone. I didn't believe that. I had to reread it a few times. I then signed up to these webinars, the ones that interested me. I was still super nervous when I showed up to the first one. I actually showed up with my microphone off, my camera off. I think I may have used a different name. I'm not sure, but I signed up. I showed up. I didn't speak at all. But I learned a lot, and the community was really welcoming, and they had like the message, you're welcome to join, everyone's here, and it was prepared. So there was like a presentation and everything. And I think Daniela was not Daniela, Diane Muller was hosting that. So yeah, from that I got involved, and flash forward about 9 months, no, 1 year later, I've joined the majority of the meetings, and I'm now a maintainer on the Python SDK. The Python SDK was proposed in November 2024, so it was completely new. And yeah, I really wasn't expecting this to turn out like this, but yeah, that's what I do. And you, Hendrik and Milan?
Yeah, so yeah, I love hearing that, Sophie. I mean, it's just a perfect story of, like, how you can just start out and you get where you are on with Hiero, for me, I mean, it's funny how you mentioned, like, you're a teacher, like you said, hey, it's nothing to do with developer. Well, I mean, my background was beekeeping. Like, you can think about anything like more different than that. So so okay, what am I doing? So within Hiero, I'm an elected member of the TSC, so the Technical Steering Committee, of which Hendrik is the chair. And basically, the Technical Steering Committee decides on the technical roadmap of the Hiero Hiero project. So what does it mean what does end users mean? Well, basically it means any company that uses the software as part of their company. In this case, obviously, because it comes from Hedera originally, the source code, as we heard earlier. And so that means that most end users currently are on Hedera. So the end users have elected me to represent them, which is a wonderful thing, by the way. We might touch on that, but I think that is real decentralization and governance getting in place. So that's one side. So I'm doing the end users, they're representing end users at the TSC. I've been a Hedera community member since almost 5 years, and it really came from passion. And I think we all share that here, and it's something I was talking about blockchain with someone in early 2021, and it was the whole hype about Bitcoin. And I was like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Why would you use? How do you use it? I mean, even the fees, and it doesn't make any sense. The energy consumption. And somebody pointed me to Hedera, and it's like, okay, now I get it. I can see this work, because it's about how, as Rebecca from Blockchain for Energy earlier mentioned, it's about the real world use cases, right? And now literally I can see, okay, I can totally see this happening. And then my brain is really like, oh, I love innovating, creating new things. So that's what I've been doing the past 5 years. I've learned to develop. I've participated in hackathons, won several times. I created a peer-to-peer payment system with a physical tap and pay machine, so you could tap them with your phone, and it will be like a direct transfer of funds, and completely abstracting Hedera. I've created a health data tokenization engine together with Acor. I created a honey traceability project. Created a proof of attendance. So for me, currently I'm co-founder of the Mouth agency, where we're building projects on Hedera in the realm of attention economy. And also with Windhelm, which works on finance and risk management. So yeah, it's very exciting, but really the most important part of all this, I think, is the intrinsic motivation, seeing the bigger picture. That's something personally what really excites me. And for Hiero, it's just the perfect part of it, as in, initially, where Lehman and Mann said, okay, this is going to be a 100-year company. Okay, you start here, and then it starts growing, where suddenly all these different parts get out of each other. Like, there's a foundation, there's the council, then is there the Hiero project, and together they create resiliency. I've bunched a lot of stuff together. So we've got a lot of topics to talk about, I think. Henrik, I'll throw it back to you.
Yeah, thank you. But that is great. And actually, I was sure that we have a perfect mix of people here. But after the two again introduced yourself, right? I like so much to see what diversity we have in the community. I mean, it's really like those classical jokes, right? A beekeeper, a teacher, and a nerd go into a bar. You know, kind of that. And that is really great to get all those powers, those different ideas, those different points, how you look on things, bring together at one place to move something forward. Actually,
I think
yeah, Sophie?
also like the diversity, it's like in the contributors, at least in the Python SDK. Every day I'm opening my laptop and there's all these new emails, 5 to 7 emails, all this new activity happening in the Python SDK, and these names, some of them I I don't recognize, they just pop out of the internet space. So it's lovely to see that the project is interesting to other people, even if they are on different countries in the world. It's working on transactions, working on documentation, working. I've had people who find bugs in the code and then they fix it immediately. It's really rewarding, and it's really nice to be part of that.
Yeah, I totally agree on that. I like it too. I think it's such a good thing to create something and see that others join you and that the community is growing and that you work with others together on something that really has an impact, which maybe brings us to the topic of governance, right? Because we now talked a lot about, there are like 800 people coming together, working on a project. There's a huge of diversity. We have like people coming from tech, like me, together with people that before not really worked in tech like you. So we have a really wide mix, which is great. But on the other hand, this means we need some rules, we need some, maybe better call it guidelines, to work together to create a kind of like framework under that the project can be organized. And so what we have here is a kind of open governance, starting with some very important and basic things, like a code of conduct, as an example, which says, hey, everybody is welcome in any of our meetings. We've seen it at the beginning of this meeting, right? Thomas just showed the everyone is welcome graphics that I like so much, that I'm showing in each and every TSC meeting. But doing it like that and allowing people to ask questions, to be integrated in the processes and so on, means to have some rules, where the lowest level rules are the code of conduct. But based on that, then we have rules for committers, we have rules for maintainers, how to become a committer, how to become a maintainer. Maybe we can talk a little bit about that, and especially I would like to ask the two, since I was familiar about those concepts even before Hiero, how you feel with those concepts and how you see how they are lived, and how on the other hand, how good those concepts are to welcome people, and how good those concepts are explained for newcomers.
So it's funny when you talked about that, and Sophie mentioned that earlier about our welcome, right? And Thomas showed it, and it's such an interesting thing, because we're talking about almost like two different communities, like with Hiero and Hedera. Although there's so much intersection, and it's the same software. Hedera is running Hiero software. So it will make way more sense and have way more community on the Hiero front. And so here's the interesting thing is that on Web3, there's this question about anonymity, right? You don't want to show your face, and it's you don't want to know or people don't like to show who they are. It can also be very, very ruthless. I mean, it's like, wow, the thing that you read on in the Web3 circle is like very and then there you've got the open source community. You got like and it's completely opposite. So I think that's really amazing. It's also poses a challenge in terms of like you think with, for example, with Hiero, it's now 1 year, and you'll think like, oh, it might be fairly easy to create this community because there's already a huge community on Hedera. Well, but there are two different communities there. So there is a challenge, but I do see it grow, and I think that's amazing. I see that, for example, me being elected as the end user representative, but also seeing more people from the community. Well, I know Sophie, for example, she's originally from Hedera community as well, and I see Brendan Davenport and Michael Cantor who have been elected. And by the way, talking about governance, we should not forget all maintainers can vote for seats, which the voting closes this coming Tuesday. So that's putting it out there. Don't forget to vote, everybody, all maintainers. So yeah, I think these two communities very interesting, but I see how it grows together and strengthen each other. And that's really powerful.
I would really agree with that. Like, sorry, Hendrik.
No, go forward.
Okay. Yeah, for me, it's it's a really welcoming environment, partly because there's so much infrastructure already provided for us Hiero community members. We know this has been built on the shoulders of others. So there's so much that the Linux Foundation, Decentralized Trust, and the Linux Foundation, the downstream effects of that. So we've got excellent software, excellent best practices, excellent management structures. We've got all these varied meetings. As I said initially, before, we have all these sophisticated tests that we run before we add code to the system. And part of that has come from people from Hedera or people from Hashgraph and the broader community members that have been here before, that have already led with these best practices. So as I came, I didn't know exactly how things would work, let alone this new technology of DLT engineering. But very quickly I learned, okay, we do unit tests and we do integration tests, and this is how they work. And to be able to have your code pass, it needs to meet all these criteria. Hendrik, you had written a really together with Nadine, I think you had created like these excellent good first issues, and you had like a step-by-step criteria. You need to be able to do this and do this. Lots of support sessions. As I said, I've been going to these meetings regularly. I've asked Hendrik, I think, questions like, what is this? He's even explained them to me. Those in the beginning there were fewer attendees. So yeah, I think Hendrik, you have had so much success in that area for me to be able to just kind of walk into this opportunity and create code that passes the strict criteria, not just me, but to be able to pass on that knowledge of how to do things to other people. I think that initially has really been from everyone, but yeah, in particular, like the leadership, the infrastructure that already exists. I mean, that would be one of my questions for you, Hendrik. Like, what kind of how did you learn about all these sort of best ways of working in an open source way? I've mostly, I started from a closed background, so.
Sure. So thank you. First of all, thank you for those nice words. And sure, I can answer that question. Actually, why I'm believe we're way not at the end, and so much things can even go so much better. So where have I learned it? I mean, I work in open source since, I don't know, like over 10 years now. And I always tried to share knowledge, share source, share stuff, because that was, I mean, it helped me so much when, when I was at university, when I was at my first job, I was in a research institute here in Germany, and there it was normal to share knowledge. And when I had a short job at an industry in Germany that was the totally opposite, and I was really shocked and directly seen, oh no, that is nothing for me. I work in a different way. And then I really tried in my career to move that sharing of whatever it is, information, code, whatever, forward. And I really like to share, to teach, to help. I believe that is what we should do to move forward. That is my point of view here. Actually, we only have 1 minute left. I could talk with you like way longer. Maybe we end with the question: how can other people, get started to get into Hiero? What is like what you would say is a call to action if somebody wants to have a deeper look into Hiero?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think first of all is I think there are two sides to it. So you can so one side is join the meeting because they're open, right? I mean, I heard somebody said like, oh, you have to tell me what happens in those meetings. And like you can literally just join them and see how and what's going on and participate and ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. The whole point of it. It's like completely open governance. In the beginning, it's pretty, I won't say scary, but it's like something different than you're used to. But if you do everything in the open and everything is as juice, there's like huge accountability. Like everyone wants to do the best, and that's I think really amazing. So join those meetings. I'd say on the other side, join some communities on Hedera, because then you can see like how the actual software is implemented, how it's being used, play around with NFTs or whatever, and reach out to, I'd say any of us, and we're happy to help out, because that's kind of like you see it implemented and you see the actual software. I think that will be my few words.
Yeah,
That's great.
I love it.
I would agree. Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
Hendrik, I know we're going to wrap up, but I think that's a great closing remark. And for all of you who are listening today on the live stream or watching this recording, I think what you've heard from Milan and Sophie and Rebecca about how the Hiero community is open for everyone to participate in. And everyone here, and Sham and Rebecca, if you're still on, if you can turn on your videos as well, it is about our community. It is about the people here, the maintainers, the developers, the contributors, the users, the folks that lead on the operations side of this huge ecosystem. And I want to thank everyone for not only joining today, but for being so open. Milan, I loved what you said, right? People say, hey, well, can you tell me what happened? Everyone can know what happens and what is happening in the Hiero ecosystem. Hendrix and the rest of the contributors and maintainers of the Hiero project are some of the best open source evangelists in the world. And we're very thankful and grateful that they're part of our community. And the folks behind the Hedera Foundation and all the companies supporting this ecosystem are just really forward thinking in how this new the new blockchain world really needs to be neutral. So I want to thank everyone for joining us today. We're going to put some links on how everyone can get involved. I encourage everyone to also look at LF Decentralized Trust and get involved directly in our community, as well as with Hiero. Please take a look at the links, and thank you all for all your support and really championing open source and open development, and very importantly, open governance in the blockchain space. We really, really think that together we're going to build better. So thank you so much for everyone's time, and I hope everybody has a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you. Bye.